Today we go to the Premier League, but it's with a huge twist. At our chosen club, we can only sign players from leagues lower down the pyramid. And of course, we'll be using Moneyball to do this, and this may answer a Moneyball question. Can a player with great data at a lower level be a good signing for a top level team? So we're going to start in the Premier League, and the chosen team will be Leeds United. So why Leeds, I hear you say? Brand new to the Premier League, and I think will have lower expectations. That's because they are predicted to struggle at 800 to 1. So that might give us a little bit of time as we take on this challenge. So my thinking is that might take a little bit of pressure off as we look to hit these goals. So the first goal is to simply survive in the Premier League. We're going to start with the day one squad and start to reshape it. Then try to get to the top 10. And finally, the ultimate goal is get Leeds back into Europe. So to make this happen, any bids that come in for any of these players, we will accept as we look to replace them with lower league players. So tactically, I think it's important we install what we want to play from the get-go. And as you can see, the squad at the minute is kind of suited to old-fashioned football. Wing player, route one, counter-attack, so we will go for that in Season 1. So I've slotted in this tactic. It will change a lot, I've got no doubt about that. And the players, well, we better not get too attached. Now, amazingly, Leeds do have 18 million in the transfer budget. I'm not going to make any transfers yet. That's because despite being able to see some good players, I want to sign players from lower leagues based on this. So I need them to get at least 6 months under their belt. The only hope is that when we get to January and the transfer window, we've still got a chance of surviving. I have set some recruitment focuses up, namely the Sky Bet Championship, Sky Bet League 1 and Sky Bet League 2. I will accept players from Europe, but they've got to be at a lower level than the Prem. So if it's Germany, it needs to be a player not from the Bundesliga. First game of the season, it was a positive start as we beat Fulham 1-0. And then in our first home game, we got a very respectable draw against Arsenal. In fact, as the season went on, things were going way better than I thought they would. Dominic Calvert-Lewin in particular was having a great time, and some teams we were absolutely stealing victories against. This 2-1 win against Tottenham pretty much sums up our season. Check out the match stats. We had 2 shots, scored twice with 33% possession. I love a bit of anti-football. In fact, when you went to the team overview and checked out average possession, the usual suspects were top of the table, but we were way down in 18th with only 39% ball possession. And in terms of passes attempted, we don't worry about that sort of stuff as we're down in 19th. We're more concerned with winning headers, kicking lumps out of the opposition, winning tackles and getting that ball into the box. Putting this all together had meant we'd shock the Premier League with our style of football, and we're currently sat in 7th place. It's a hell of a bonus to have Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's great on FM, let's be honest. He's scored 11 times in 20 matches and he's providing a fantastic striker performance, playing as a target forward, winning a big amount of headers and winning the ball back. He's actually doing way more than you can expect from a striker. At the other end of the pitch, the goalkeeper's had a great time with 6 clean sheets, and when you look at his analysis, he's preventing a load of goals as well. With the defensive midfielders doing the defensive job really well, what we're getting is a really hard working team with even the attacking midfielders pitching in. Lucas Nemecha up front has been absolutely outstanding, and the key thing you'll notice in most of these players is the hard work they're putting in no matter where they are on the pitch. God bless this style of tactic. But now the problem, it might not get any better than this, because we've got our best squad we'll probably have throughout this entire story, and the players are either unhappy, wanting new contracts, or wanted by other teams. We're at the halfway point now, and this is like an upside down save, because the squad we've got there is the best squad we're going to have throughout this save most likely, because now if these players get sold, we need to replace them with lesser players. I'm going to try and get through the transfer window now without losing any players, so then we can see where we are come the end of the season. However, it wasn't long into the transfer window when the vultures started to come and James Justin looked like he was already on his way. Thankfully, I had my recruitment focuses to have a look at, and there was a load of results in the Championship, but not so many in League 1 and 2. James Justin being a fullback means I need to find another one. Ethan Laird came up on the scout report. However, when you look at his data, I'm not quite sure what sort of season this guy's having. He can dribble and he can put pressure on, but he loses the ball an absolute ton, doesn't win it back. Just not good enough. There were some players that were good enough, such as Victor Christiansen at Leicester. However, his value at 27 to 39 is absolutely huge, but he has been playing really well. That's the sort of thing I need to see. When you take into account his attributes, he looks like a player who could easily jump up to Premier League level. But with James likely to leave for 9 million, I've put a bid in for Ryan Giles, who is at Hull City. Attribute wise, he looks good cross of the ball, good physicals. This season, when it comes to fullback, attacking wise he looks great, but that's because he plays as a winger. I'm going to readjust him to be a left back. It's a risk, but I think it could be one worth taking. And at a cost of 1.4 million, we're going to make a profit. Yeah, James Justin's definitely leaving. West Ham coming now as well. So players are going to come and go, and these are the sort of players we need to keep an eye on. Kike, who's in Serie B, Juan Serrano, goalkeeper, in the second level in Spain. Same for Kawame, second level in Spain. These players we can pick up. And they look quite decent, to be honest. So there could be players we need to make a move for now. And the other bonus is, when you're shopping lower down, they're going to be cheaper. I started to prep for next season. I've got a bid in for Luca Connell from lowly Barnsley. He's playing in League One. He's got great all-round data. This is a risk, but I'm going to bring him into the club. And as the transfer window closes, our first free signings from lower league football are confirmed. Ryan Giles from Hull City, Juan Serrano, the goalkeeper, from the second level in Spain, and Luca Connell from League One. And so far we've lost James Justin to Crystal Palace for 12 million and Joe Rodon to Wolves for 7.75. But come the end of the season, I've got an absolute ton of players who are out of contract. So the good news was, by April we'd achieved objective number 1. We are confirmed to be in the Premier League next season. Sat in the 11th, we're pretty comfortable. We've dropped off a little bit, but I'm really happy. And I've tried to get the jump on opposition by getting some bids in for players from lower leagues. And now Zulic is playing in the second division in Slovenia. My scouts found him. He looks like he's going to be an absolute monster of a centre-back. It's really limited on data because he's in such a small league, but when I saw his attributes, I thought it was worth the risk. Fullback Andy Lyons will come in from Blackpool, again another League One player. I mean, at that level he's had a solid season. How will he cope with a step up of 2 leagues though? And a bigger signing is 5 million on Dion Lope, who plays for Almeria in the second division in Spain. Attribute wise, he looks absolutely fantastic. I've gone for Rocco Simic on a free transfer. He's on loan from Cardiff. He's playing in the second division in Germany. He's got a good goal ratio, good attribute range. Problem is, I'm competing with the Milan clubs. But now to the shocking part of the season. We've somehow managed to get ourselves in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and even more shockingly, we're against Derby. We have had the easiest run to the semis we could possibly get. QPR, Bristol City, Norwich, Stoke, all teams from lower down. Calvert-Lewin scored 5 in the quarterfinals. He has bagged 25 goals this season, a stunning performance, but he won't sign a new contract, and he's going to end up at one of the London clubs. In fact, both strikers have been absolutely fantastic. And as for our first signing from the lower leagues, Ryan Giles, well, he's played 10 matches and he's starting to settle in. That's not a bad record at all, not bad at all. And in the FA Cup semi-final, our approach of lofting balls into the box worked a treat even against lower league opposition. A 4-1 win means somehow we're in the FA Cup final, but it's against Arsenal. More good news is, shockingly, Rocco Simic turns down the Milan clubs to sign for Leeds. Are you okay, mate? But that does mean we've got some good signings on the way for next season, all from lower levels. The Premier League finishes with us finishing in 11th place. We nearly accomplished 2 of our goals in the first season. As expected, Arsenal were too strong for us in the FA Cup final, but not to worry, because overall as a first season, that's pretty good, and it might be the best we do for a while, because although we've got some players coming in, I'm very scared about the amount of players we're about to lose. Now that is a good first season, but it might mean the expectations are a little too high now. As we start to prep for season 2, we've still got a lot of players from last season, but we are only in June, so let's see what happens. Now to prep for this, I've still got all these players coming in, and I've added a couple more as well. Centre-back Luka Loshashvili comes in from the German second division. Big physical player who wins the ball back. Also coming in from the English Championship is Max Bird, a defensive midfielder for 1.3 million. A really solid performance of winning the ball back, not losing it. Now to find these players, I did a combination of things. The first was the player search with the filters. There's a striker, for example. We also had a few more. This is the counter DM. You can see minutes played, possession lost is at most 7, possession won is at 10. Dead simple. And then I could use some other filters that I've used in the past, such as the winger filter, which has an emphasis on dribbles made and assists. And that led me to Kwadwo Bar, who I'm signing from Watford for 9 million. It's potential, just that. He wasn't a regular starter for Watford, but when he played, he got good dribbles, good assists, so we took a punt on him. Now, the other way I found players in England was via player stats. So I went league by league, just having a little look to see what players stood out. In fact, this is Sky Bet League 2, and I was looking at dribbles per 90 minute. And Malcolm Eberwhite, a winger, is a big standout as well. Great pace, great dribbles this season, falls a little bit below on assists, but if you're looking for a raw potential player, he's one I'm going to track. It was the same in League 1 when I looked at goals per 90 minutes for a striker. So there we've got Bojan Radulovic, who's playing for Huddersfield. 30 goals this season could be an option. When I look at his data chart, he could be a good replacement for Calvert-Lewin. Same story for Elijah Adebayo. 25 goals this season. I actually put a bid in for 5 million, which they rejected, and he's gone for 15 million to Norwich from League 1. So I've got all these players coming in, but there's still going to be work to do. It all depends how many of my main squad get sold, because remember, we have to accept every bid that comes in. One thing's for sure though, an 11th place finish means that this tactic is here to stay, and this is the way it looks. It's a normal goalkeeper. I don't want him playing out from the back. Defence, you got a fullback on attack, so he's the more aggressive one to combine with the winger in front of him. 2 centre-backs, 1 no-nonsense, one's allowed a bit more on the ball with a full-back on support. 2 DMs just keeping it tight. 1 winger more we've drawn than a more advanced winger because he basically wants to play like a striker, so I'm kind of forcing him to play like a winger. Target forward, advanced forward combo. He will look to prosper off the flick-ons from the target forward. In terms of in possession, you can see we go much more direct, check that out, with a higher tempo, meaning we get the ball and just launch it. In transition, we do counter-press and counter, so keeping it aggressive, but we do distribute to that target forward. Out of possession, we don't go too high. In some matches, we do actually drop it back to standard, but most of the time we start high, get stuck in without saying, and I'm okay with inviting crosses because my boys should be able to deal with it. So as you can see, it's been a bit of a lively time in pre-season as we've sold 105 million worth of players. Oh dear. This includes goalkeeper Lucas Perry, winger Noah Okafor, Wilfred Nonto, and centre-backs Voba and Bijol. So it's fair to say the squad looks very different now. In fact, when you look at the starting 11, we've got Soriano's now the new number 1, we've got fullback Giles as the left back, same central midfielders, but we've got Bar, the 9 million Watford reserve, playing down the left, and Simic will take over the target forward role. On the bench, it's nearly all new players from lower levels. Now the supporters were getting a bit testy, so I've actually splashed the cash on Abdul Fatuwu. He's coming in from Leicester, who are still in the Championship. He had a good season last season, but he's costing me big money. It's going to rise to 30 million eventually. But we've got so much money now, and one of the annoying Club Vision objectives is to spend the original transfer budget, so I need to do something to keep them on side. And with that, our transfer business was done for what's going to be a very hard season. The so-called experts really didn't like our business, ranking us down at 300 to 1. Goals for this season? Well, very much the same as last season. Let's survive and let's see where we can go from there, because this squad is a ton weaker than what we started with. Okay, first the good news. The good news was the long ball football was reaping rewards early in the season as we beat Chelsea. But my rules were starting to bite me as player after player left the club, meaning I was left with a pretty shadow squad to what I started with. And after a good start, this led to a bit of a drop off in the league, and a little over halfway through the season we're sitting down in 14th position. Look, if we can survive, it's a massive achievement. Now when I get my best 11 in the team, more and more of the players have come from lower leagues. And after all the outgoings, the squad's blooming tiny now, so I'm going to have to recall Anel Zulic from his loan move. And to be fair, he has been performing insanely good out there, so let's get him back. But the boys stuck with it, grinding out draws against West Ham, Ipswich, Wolves and Brentford all in a row. And then Rocco Simic scored the most Leeds goal of all time, as goalkeeper Sereno picks it up, launches it upfield, Simic wins it and smashes it in. And then an unbelievable result at Arsenal as the long ball football worked yet again as Cornell picked it up, launched it towards Simic, he ran onto it, he still had a lot to do, but oh my. Currently on a 9-match undefeated streak with 5 straight wins, thanks largely to a slight tactic tweak where I dropped the 2 strikers and went to a more basic 4-3-3. And it's a good job we went on that hot streak, because this brutal run of fixtures, Newcastle, City, Palace, Villa, Tottenham, Liverpool, United, we didn't win any of them. But we've done enough to finish 13th in the league, and my god, I'll take that with the squad we currently got. To be honest, I didn't quite realise how quickly players would leave the club, and it's meant this challenge has been super hard, super fast. So a big pre-season on the way, but at least we've got all that to try and get some players in. Yeah, I won't lie, that was a tough season, and I might have underestimated this task, because in likelihood the best squad we're going to have was the first squad. Each season it seems I'm going to get less and less quality players. However, that is the task we have set ourselves, so now it's time to have a big squad rebuild to get the numbers up. So now I've got the challenge of working out what to do with this squad. At the minute, we're a good, hard-working team. I mean, Jack Harrison kind of sums it up. He's an attacking midfielder, but when you look at his attacking midfielder data, he's putting in the work, winning the ball back, tackles, pressures, but when it comes to creativity, not really giving us much. We've got ourselves a decent striker in Rocco Simic. He managed 18 goals this season, but he's not really getting the service. So the question is, do we abandon the long ball style, the counter-attack style, and try to get a bit more expressive? Otherwise, I fear we're going to be stuck around the lower mid-table area. And there is potential in some of the players we've signed from lower leagues like Ryan Giles. He looks to be a really good attacking wing-back now. I have secured 2 signings already on free transfers coming in, 2 strikers. Mikhail Kaufmann's coming in from the 2nd division in Germany. 16 goals this season at a good rate. And a bit more of a marquee signing in Andre Silva. He's playing in the 2nd division in Spain because his team got relegated. And he's 8 up that division for 27 goals. He's 31, bit of experience. So it looks like there'll be options to have Simic a partner or an alternative. And our big signing last year, Fatuwu, he had a decent season with 4 goals, 4 assists. But I think if we get a bit more expressive, we should see some of these numbers up here go up. So I got to work in what was going to be a hectic pre-season. First player that popped up was Ali Yassim playing in Serie B. He has been outrageous in Serie B this season with 12 goals, 35 appearances. That's the sort of attacking threat I'm looking for. It's going to be pricey though. And if you remember, I've been tracking young Notts County winger Malcolm Ebowie for 2 years now, and he's had another good season. Exciting winger, let's go for him as well. There's also bids in for centre-back Liam Morrison, who's at QPR, and left-back Jordan Hackett, who's down at Stevenage. I went down the leagues in England checking out player stats, and something popped up in terms of assists. Third place was Jimmy Redhead, Swansea City, 16 years of age. A closer look at him showed what a talent this boy could be with passing, with technique. And that is outstanding, and at 16 years old, I had to put a bid in. I've got even more bids in for players, including right-back Milan van Uwijk from Coventry in the Championship. 27-year-old Rotherham midfielder Drew Yearwood joined. This is mad. And the final big move was for Serie B midfielder Morten Freundrup from Genoa. So he played as a defensive midfielder, but not only was he winning the ball back, but he was contributing going forward. And with that, our business was done. The lower level of my squad was starting to show as we were second favourites to get relegated, but that didn't stop this hilarious job offer. Despite all that upheaval, we actually started to play some pretty good stuff as the season got going. So we've kind of changed the way we play, and we're playing more of a passing approach, and I've got a couple of flair midfielders involved. That was a 2-1 victory over Spurs, and as you can see there's loads of passing going on in here. And the good news was Ali Yassim finally got given his work permit, thank God. He scored the first goal in our best performance of the season as we went away to Arsenal and beat them 2-1. Halfway point of the season we are locked bang in 10th position. We are on track to get objective number 2, but there's a long way to go. Tactically we've morphed into a bit more of a fluid system with a double Mazzala. There's a big emphasis on going wide, as you can see. The two fullbacks are vital to this, and Ryan Giles continues to excel. And at right back, the risk of signing Milan van Uwijk from Coventry and converting him into a fullback has worked a treat. On deadline day I picked up Victor Schust from Cadiz in Spain. Safe to say that's been a big signing as well. And how about that 16-year-old we bought, Jimmy Redhead? Now 17, I could only get him on loan because he turned the move down, but he did agree to join us on loan and we can get him at the end of the season. 17-year-old Jimmy Redhead continued to prove his class, laying on goal after goal. Second half of the season, my lower league Warriors stumbled a bit but finished really strongly, including an epic away victory at Man City in which we used some of our old techniques. Some of the long ball football came into play as we shocked City and at one point went 4-1 up. That was the highlight of the second half of the season. A second half of the season where we achieve our objective number 2 and get Leeds United into the top 10 of the Premier League. And that's how we've done it with a 4-3-3, with most of the team getting on really well. We've definitely unearthed a gem in Yassim, giving me big numbers in terms of dribbles and assists. And this was the season that Abdul Fatuwu really came to the party with a stunning all-round performance. So after 3 seasons, we hit the top 10 and some serious scouting gone on to get us to that stage. Now to get to Europe, it's got to be the top 8, so that's got to be the goal next. So now we've just got one more objective, get Leeds into Europe. I think overall the squad are overachieving. There's only a couple of players left from when we joined the club. Nemecha's still there, but he didn't play much last season and he is a wanted man, so he's probably going to be exiting. So after a few manic seasons in terms of transfers ins and outs, this one should be a little bit calmer. I got to work in the transfer market nice and early. From League 1, Odell Afire will come in as cover at right back. From the Championship and Ipswich Town, I'm bringing in Kaplan. Looks a solid acquisition, good attributes. Scout think he's going to be a good signing. Big money going to be spent on Kenya Fujimoto, who's at Birmingham. Eyeing him up to play as an attacking Mazzala, and you can see why with 12 assists, and that expected assist is fantastic. Also from the Championship, Dillian Bakwa from Sheffield Wednesday as winger cover. From the second division in Spain, Aiko Adams for a striker. He's going to be backup, but he scored 26 times this season. There was the usual thorough end of team meeting. And meanwhile, managers were coming and going at Manchester City. Randy Nteka joined from the Spanish second division and Vallecano. This unit of a man can play anywhere down the middle, and he's had a fantastic overall season. The day came where all the reinforcements joined the club, meaning alongside my youngsters, I've got an absolutely packed squad now. With Lucas Nemecha finally leaving as he joined Freiburg, it meant going into season 4 we managed to completely change the squad, and now it's full of lower league transfers in. Now the progress has been slow and steady, but now it's time for us to explode and get into Europe. So I couldn't argue with the start we made as we beat Tottenham at the Tottenham Stadium, and then in our first home game, an absolute shocker. We battered Newcastle for 6. So we had a great start. It did slope a little bit, but we continued to win more than we lost. And late in the season, we are right on it. We're right on our goal. Remember, I think it's top 8 that qualify for Europe in the Prem. More often than not, this has been the team that's got us there. We actually made a change to the tactic by dropping the tempo down to lower because we were just creating too many chances and missing. Since we've done this, we've been really good. Simic has turned into a top striker. And the addition of Fujimoto was a masterstroke. 13 assists, he leads the Premier League. And man, I say it every season about our first lower league signing, Ryan Giles, but his value is now up to 22 million. Of course, there's going to be mishaps like this 6-1 demolition job by City, but we dished out 6 of our own at home to Bournemouth, and our late season run meant we complete our goal by finishing 7th, scraping into the Conference League behind some big teams. But some of the boys did us proud, like Fujimoto, top of the assists, and down in 4th is our left back Ryan Giles. Milan, our right back, was top of interceptions. Both of our centre backs featured in key tackles. Rocco was the second most prolific striker in the league with Sesko, meaning the underdog squad did us proud. I guess it goes to show that if you really do drill down, you can find some good players from lower leagues, and not to mention the increase in value on some of them players. So that was a good time. Very slow, steady progress. It was tough, but we managed to get it done. So a very unique challenge done with Leeds. I mean, we still managed to spend 223 million on lower league players, but we did recoup way more than that as well. So no crazy finish here, no Champions League or anything like that, just a really structured, slow build to 7th.